Hey, good evening. Welcome to a unscheduled live stream from Orangeburg, South Carolina. I just got in a few minutes ago, and I'll tell you, I'm tired. It's been a long day today. Have no idea if anybody will pop in here on a Saturday night. And of course, we got a lot of our folks traveling. Cindy's on her way to Rome. I think she took off today. Hot Air Tom's up there in New Jersey now as he's getting ready to go. My friend Sue and Barry that I traveled with this past week, that I was on a cruise with them in Alaska also. Um, and their adopted son, they call him, Greg, was on this cruise with us. Just we had so much fun. It was really a fun week. But Sue and Barry, I got off of Symphony of the Seas, went to the airport, and they're flying to Barcelona. They're going to get on Valiant Lady over there for a cruise. And then they get from Valiant Lady, they move over to Wonder of the Seas, and they're doing a cruise over there, and then taking Wonder of the Seas on transatlantic, coming back. So, of course, Cindy's over there to do a cruise and a transatlantic coming back on Norwegian. So, and Hot Air Tom is getting ready to go over. So that's everybody's on the run, and I'm going back home right now. I don't have anything scheduled until the end of October. Um, I I may do something before then. I don't know. A lot depends on how things are open at home. Ocean to ocean travel. Hey, welcome aboard. I don't know if you're familiar with me at all, or you just happen to catch this one. Um, I normally do, or my regular gig is the travel and cruise industry news at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Monday through Friday, when we cover all facets of the travel and cruise industry. There's Katie's with us. Hi, Katie. I'm in Orangeburg, South Carolina, Katie. Hi, Carol. Safe travels home. Thank you. Yeah, it was uh, for Ocean to Ocean since they're new. I am. I just got off Symphony of the Seas, and I'm driving. I got in my car this morning about at least an hour and a half, 2 hours later than is normal for me getting off of a cruise. So, of course, that put me back, an hour and a half or 2 hours later getting in here tonight. So it was actually dark when I got here, but it was a good week, and I've had a great cruise. Um, but anyway, I do a bunch of videos and just normal vlogging stuff from things that I do on cruises because I am mobility challenged. I have tried to keep an eye out for accessibility issues first and foremost. Although Symphony of the Seas they would score very high in the accessibility, except for their embarkation, which is a Royal Caribbean thing. Debarkation today, and it's not entirely their fault, but it was rough. Part of it is our fault because Sue said, "Look, they're key members," and she says we're going for a key breakfast this morning. They have steak and eggs, and she says we do that at 8 o'clock. So why don't you join us, and the four of us will have a breakfast before we take off. So I couldn't refuse that offer. Then I got to saw the menu. Not only do they have a filet and eggs for breakfast, they also have crab cakes Benedict, and the crab cakes, honest, they were close to 2 inches thick. just like eggs Benedict, only with these yummy crab cakes. Had a little bite to them, a little spicy, but man, was that good and filling. Oh my lord! I didn't never ate any lunch today. I was still stuffed from breakfast. But what happened, because it took an hour to eat, it was in the main dining room. By then, everybody on the ship is in line to get off. It got up to, they wanted everybody out of their cabins by 9 o'clock. So, I mean, it was a madhouse. So when I got down to where, take my scooter, rode my scooter down to where I can get wheelchair service off the ship, there was 5 or 6 people in front of me. So I had to wait there for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. That wasn't bad. Then we got off the ship, and then where the ship folks have to hand you over to the port folks, there was another wait. Now that was a little longer. That was probably 15-minute wait. And then when I got the pusher to push me down downstairs, on the elevator, and you go down to the luggage bays, and got my luggage, my scooter that I'd checked through the night before. Of course, got a sky cap porter, whatever you call them, there in the port of Miami. And the guy pushing the wheelchair says, "The line for cabs is awful. Why don't you do Uber?" And I said, "Okay, that's fine." So I pulled out my phone and I ordered up a car, an Uber. And by the time we got to the Uber area, it was like 25 minutes before the driver could get there. So that put me even further behind schedule. So I just, it ended up being, it was 10:30 before I got on the road. And, I like to get on the road after a cruise about 9 o'clock. So, but anyway, made it to Orangeburg, South Carolina. I'll go on into Virginia tomorrow. And my show on Monday will be back in studio for the first time in a while. Guga and Rob are with us. Hey, how you doing, guys? I advertised you guys at where was I when I did St. Martin this time. I wore your Guga and Rob shirt that I got from you. Ocean to Ocean Travel says sounds delicious, man. I'll say one thing: I am not a normal sweet person, but I was in a suite this week, and from that, as all 4 of us were in suites, we got to eat in Coastal Kitchen because of the suites. The food, and went totally different than main dining room food on Royal Caribbean, which I like anyway. But the food was just exceptional in Coastal Kitchen. So if you ever do a Royal Caribbean cruise, try to figure out some way to eat in Coastal Kitchen because it's fantastic. I had steaks several nights. It was excellent, and the service was tip top. It was a good time. And then we also did several breakfasts there. So it was nice not being in the mob in the main dining room. There was 5,500 plus 1,000 kids on this cruise. So it was packed. But the ship, the Symphony, those Oasis class ships are so enormous. There's very few places where you feel crowded. Obviously, the buffet's one of them. So, and luckily this week I was able to stay out of the buffet. There was constant lines at the main dining room. But then things like, at times the casinos would be packed, The shows, of course, were all sold out. You had to make reservations early in the week to get in any of the shows. And the shows were, I mean, I've always liked Royal Caribbean shows, but the shows on Symphony were just phenomenal. It was such a good cruise. All right, let's see. We got some chats going on over here. Nikki says it's a good thing you had a good breakfast since you were off to such a late start. Yeah, well, that's true. But I mean, I still have to stop quite often at my age and physical stamina. So, I could easily eat if I wanted to. Robert Lamb's with us. Hi, Chillie. I'm a relatively new subscriber to your channel. Began after hearing the New York Times daily appearance. Good to have you with us, Robert. My name's Robert. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. All right. And I've been on only one cruise in my 44 years. Oh, well, we'll, we'll talk you into going on another one soon. I've got quite a few people from Texas, um, different places. I don't think I've got anybody from San Antonio, but some Houston area, several people there, Dallas area, several people there that are pretty religious followers and have been on the show several times. I've interviewed several of the Texas folks before. So anyway, Robert, it's good to have you. You will find that our chat folks in the chat room will carry on full conversations while I'm going on. I claim all the time that they're paying absolutely no attention to me, but they're you know chatting away amongst each other. And like I say, we got a whole bunch of people traveling this weekend. Marissa Furforo, same here. I heard him on the first time on daily and had to subscribe. Now listen almost every day. Well, Marissa, thank you very much for that. That was I have to tell you, the New York Times, that was a pretty successful thing for me. I mean, obviously, a little guy like me to be in a situation like that, uh, it's helped my channel a lot, of course, and just just to be in the Times. I was actually uh, in the Times 3 times this year, so that's great. But the big one, of course, was the Daily because that's just a huge podcast. So Katie says hi to Guga and Rob. Anyway, I'm looking at maybe booking another cruise. And the other thing I found out this weekend that I had missed totally, MSC Seaside, not Seashore that's been here before that I've been on, but Seaside is coming to the States next year. So I'm going to have to probably do that just to, again, MSC's got such a bad reputation and it's not fair. I don't think I've done 3 cruises. I've loved all 3 of them. I loved the 3 ships that I was on. I am booked on the inaugural for Seascape in December. Obviously looking forward to that. This will be the first inaugural cruise that I've done. And I will try to do live streams daily from the Seascape, in addition to the show, my regular shows. But anyway, the Seaside is coming. I want to say it's for next summer, maybe. So I got to start looking at that and see if I can hook up with that one. I think amigo Martin and Stan from over there on the other side of the pond are going to be booked on the Seaside while they're in the States next summer. So I might just have to book the same time they're here since even though Martin and John and I have co-hosted that show forever, I've never personally met him, other than online. So that might be in the offing. Thanks for making me feel so welcome. Robert says. Katie says, welcome, Robert. Nikki says hi to Katie. Carol says, welcome, Robert. See how it goes? Robert, everybody helps in there. Carol says hello to Marissa. This and they'll next time you're on and you say something in chat, something you'll get conversations going with all these guys. That's just the way they do it. So anyway, this was a really good week. It's been, my last two cruises. I went on the hot air Tom cruise that I call it, the Norwegian cruise, and was totally surprised. It's an older ship, smaller ship. Of course, I tend to like smaller ships, although I surprised myself this week to really like Symphony of the Seas. But the Norwegian Sky ended up being an awesome cruise. And I had not counted on it being a food delight cruise at all. Well, I just wasn't expecting it. And I was really surprised at the quality of the food on Norwegian Sky. And the service was, of course, service is almost always good on Norwegian. So I've, and then doing the Symphony, because it's such a big ship, I was thinking, I'm not going to like this big ship with all these people. And it turned out that I did. I love the ship. It's a gorgeous ship. My goodness. The Central Park area, of course, the boardwalk is fun. I'd like to know how many plants, trees and plants they have in Central Park. I mean, if we're talking, 20, 30,000 plants. It's unbelievable. It's like you're in a jungle. It's just stunning. So you want to catch out my videos. I tried doing live streams on several of those and they didn't work. And I finally got a live stream on Facebook that went relatively well. I don't know why. StreamYard, I'm having trouble with moving live streams. No idea. But it just tends to, I lose the signal. So I got to confer with, I don't know, Google and Rob. Do you guys move around when you're live streaming? I know Jay Cruz does. Maybe I have to pick their brains on. I'm not even sure what platform they're on. But they do live tours of the whole ship. They go up and down, elevators and keep the live stream going. So Carol says, I'm a Princess Cruiser, but not too sure about their new ship with 4,200 passengers. Well, that's what I thought about Symphony. And yet it was not that. I mean, you didn't feel that crowded except just in those couple of places. The rest of the time when I was out running around the ship and doing my filming and activities and doing crazy stuff, it just didn't feel crowded. Now, the 70s night, which was in the Grand Promenade, that got crowded. And matter of fact, it was so crowded, I just got out of there on my scooter and went up a deck and watched it from above. And I ended up going to bed before it really got rocking and rolling because I don't stay up that late anymore. But and then it was real crowded down there for the 9/11 tribute, which was quite moving, quite emotional for a lot of people. Well done, very well done. So that, of course, that there had to be, I'm guessing, 4,000 people maybe in the grand for the 9/11 thing. I mean, that was a lot of people packed in there. The sea days, of course, we had terrific weather, so the pool areas were crowded. Of course, with my chemo drug that I'm taking now, my $11,000 a month drug. Ugh. I don't do well in the sun like I used to. You can probably tell my cheeks are a little red today. That's just from, having sun coming in the car on me. So that's a drawback to this drug is I don't do well in the sun. So, going out and sitting in the sun like I've always done at the poolside and stuff, I just can't do it. This was typical pools. I call them inaccessible pools. You have to be able to do steps or that bench kind of step. All the hot tubs had 6, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps. So I consider all of that inaccessible. Yes, they have the chairlift, but as I've said many times before, you're not going to put my fat butt in a chairlift and make a big spectacle out of me, picking me up and swinging me around and dropping me in the water. It's just not going to happen. I don't need to get in the pools or the hot tubs that bad. If I can walk up them and to get in there, that's another thing. But like Freedom, I was able to get the scooter right up to the steps down into the water. So I could go in and out of that pool. And then what I found out in Freedom was that I could stay out there and tread water and exercise for an hour without having my oxygen on, which I found shocking at the time. Now I've done it quite a bit of times in my pool at home. But I didn't get in the pool one time on Symphony because it was just it was hard to get to, and I knew with that much steps that I'd have to have oxygen before I'd get in the water, and then I'd have to get rid of the oxygen. It was just, yeah, it wasn't as slick as it was on Freedom. Freedom was much easier for me to get in and out of the water. So Joni's with us. Hi, Joni. How you doing? Good to have you in. I'm glad everybody is popping in tonight. Some of us participated in a Zoom cocktail party during the pandemic. Others of us have met IRL, ports and interstates. Good folks. I agree, Nikki. We have we've enjoyed a couple meals together, you and I, and Katie came over from Orlando for one of them. And you guys have also met with Hot Air Tom before. Yeah, so it's nice when we can all get together any way possible. I was thinking of Nikki about calling you guys today, but then when I was running so late, I said, "Man, I just can't. I'm going to be dead tired, and if I took another hour to go break bread with Nikki and Roger, I've been even later getting into the hotel tonight, and that's I had to say, no, we'll do this next time." Hey, Rally's with us. How you doing? Good to see you again. I'm just an hour away from you. Oh, yeah. We are exit 21 on 95, so you probably passed us heading home. Yeah, I came up 95 to, what is it, 26 west that I take over to Orangeburg. This particular Holiday Inn Express I've stayed at numerous times and really like it. It's maybe a little long of a drive from Miami to Orangeburg, but like Port Canaveral to Orangeburg would be a dream. It'd be easy. Probably Tampa to Orangeburg will be a dream. So, Blaine, ocean to ocean and knows Blaine, obviously. That's cool. Okay, there's a connection. Bruce. Bruce is ocean to ocean. I see. All right, I'm learning. I probably won't remember that. But anyway, glad you guys are here. Johnny says, would you do another Oasis class ship again? Absolutely. Absolutely. Even if I'm not in a suite, you know, especially if we're getting to times of the year when they're not as full. I was surprised at how full it was this weekend since school has started and that many kids. I'm thinking, why aren't these kids in school? And some of them are too young for school, but not all. I mean, anyway, 26.95 split. That's correct. Yeah. And then it's like 24 miles to the hotel where I am tonight. So it's that part was pretty easy. I don't like to drive at night anymore, so I was aggravated at myself that it was actually after dark by the time I got here. Which, I mean, crazy stuff like I need to open my suitcase and grab out a clean pair of shorts and a clean shirt for tomorrow, and I couldn't see because it's in the back seat of my car, and I don't have a light in the back seat. And so when I get my scooter charged up here, my little scooter, which I keep in the car, I'll go down in the morning and grab clothes and come up and get my shower and all that business. Because I've kicked out as many miles as I did today, I don't really have a whole lot to do tomorrow. Probably, what is it from here? 350 miles or something. I don't even know. I didn't even check. I don't remember. So, but it's not a killer day like today was. By the way, some of you might be interested in an update on the weather. I've been tracking all these silly ass storms. Fiona has thankfully, even though it's wreaking havoc on the islands now, it still could become a hurricane, folks. But it has started turning north, so it's kind of aimed. Yeah, unless there's a major change in direction, we're not going to have to deal with it on the East Coast. Earlier in the week, I thought that was a possibility, but it's already started to hook north. So I think I can even show you that. Let's see if I don't have that loaded. No, it's not loaded. You would know. I wouldn't. I would tell you wrong right immediately. Now, let's see. I believe that one is okay. Okay, why isn't this working right? Of course, you would know on a Saturday night when I'm tired and I'm technically challenged to start with that nothing would work the way I want it to work. And then I'm killing dead air, which I don't like to do. Okay. So anyway, it's going to take a couple seconds for that to load. And you can see that it's pretty sure that it's not going to head toward the East Coast, heading toward Bermuda now, depending on how much of a turn that makes to the east. It could even hook around and not affect Bermuda at all, but it's probably going to hit Bermuda. And Bermuda's had several hits this year. It's been an easy Well, sorry about that. Had to I kicked myself out of my own broadcast, and then I got back on, and I didn't have it myself in the stream. Well, what a mess! I'm so technically challenged at times. But anyway, that pretty much takes care of Fiona. There's a couple other smaller systems coming across the trough. I don't see them doing much anything. A little different story on the West Coast. Um, I have two tropical storms. Of course, we had Lester. Lester has it's either made landfall or is about to make landfall. And it's really until we see what happens once it's at land as to what's going to happen. Now, Madeline, the one that's out in the water a little bit, that's not going to affect land at all. It's going to take off toward Hawaii. So, and it'll break up out in the Pacific someplace. But Lester's another story. Lester is currently sustained winds. It's down to 30 miles an hour, so that's not bad. Lester's pretty much has come ashore and it's breaking up rather rapidly. Pressure's up to 1010. So it looks like Lester is going to be gone. So that's a good thing. Now, Alaska, we were watching that crazy storm. It looked like it was coming into Nome, and they were talking about it being the worst storm they've had in decades. And it took a couple clicks to the south. It's not going to affect Nome hardly at all now, but it is going to affect all of our cruise communities. However, it does appear that it's broken up enough that I don't think it's going to be as bad as they were projecting as far as the surf and the heavy rains / snow. It looks like the cruise areas, and when I'm saying cruise areas, from Anchorage south, Juneau and Ketchikan and Skagway and Icy Strait Point, and all the places where the cruise ships go. I could get a little snow out of this, but it's going to be a light snow, I think, instead of a heavy snow, which with that typhoon, that could have been pretty nasty, but it looks like it's going to be a whole lot easier. But it's going to affect the cruise communities more than we were expecting. So, Nikki says, I agree, something to look forward to. Blaine says, so it probably took you close to 10-ish hours. No, it wasn't that long. Let's see. 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. Yeah, it was 9 plus, I guess, wasn't it? Yeah, close to 10. No wonder I'm tired. I'm an old fat guy. I get tired easily. Yeah. So, Robert says, I happens to all of us. Hot Air Tom, there you go. We were talking about you, and he pops in. Hot Air Tom's up there in New Jersey. He went out to dinner, the last I heard. Hot Air Tom's the one that is taking care of getting me in this lovely hotel. So I always appreciate that. It certainly is. It's a nice one. This, unfortunately, they didn't have any accessible rooms. I haven't even been in the bathroom yet to see what I'm going to have to deal with in the way of the shower in the morning. But I'll come up with something. But anyway, it's been a good week for me, guys. All right, I just wanted to do a live stream and say hello to everybody. Good to have some new faces in the house, and faces we don't see as much as we do all the regular guys. So I'm glad you guys were with us. And if anything major happens in the travel and cruise industry news tomorrow. I will, do a live from somewhere along the way. Oops, here's a new person. Staxic relaxation and sleep. Do you take blinkers? I'm not sure what that means. Take a blinker. And Blaine says, good to see you. Be safe tomorrow. Oh, I will. I don't take much of chances on the road. Boy, the storms through Florida though are unbelievable. Now sometimes they only last a couple seconds, but wow, some of those were brutal. Hard, heavy rain where slow down to 30 miles an hour on 95 kind of rain, probably 8 or 10 times today. So that slowed me down even further. But anyway, on to Virginia tomorrow, and I will be in studio at 11 a.m. on Monday. Love to have you all here. Since some of you are new to this channel, we always appreciate thumbs up. That helps the channel out a lot. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Hit the bell notification. You'll be notified when I go live or when I post a new video. And hopefully we'll see all of you guys back again here sometime soon. All right, that's going to wrap me up for tonight, guys. Thanks for being with me. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. I'll see you guys either tomorrow or Monday. Thanks for being here. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.